Welcome to our website. This is the Umbria Plot Master Class, which is an inaugural retreat style trip that we are doing in Umbria, Italy. And it is Monday, July 28th through Friday, August 1st. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about it. And so are my friends, Mary Jane and Sam. So let me tell you about me. I'm Sarah Clawson Willis. I am an author and a educator and a story coach. And I have a book coming out this April, unless you're watching this already in 2025. And then if it's after like April 22nd, you can go buy my book, and you should. It's called Band Nerd, and it is a graphic novel, and it is available everywhere books are sold. So that is me, and I'm going to turn it over to Mary Jane to let her tell you about herself.
So I'm Mary Jane Nirdlinger, also a writer, and currently working on adult historical fiction. So lots of research and a pretty strong focus on the plot and the romance and the mystery and all of that. And I'll turn it over to you, Sam.
Sure. So, hi, everybody. I'm Samantha Skall. I am a mystery thriller and suspense and horror focused book coach and also writer. I am here because I really want to be involved in this wonderful retreat focused on plot. And we can't wait to talk about the origin of how this all came about. So, Mary Jane and Sarah reached out to me. They are the ones running the show. I am here to support and do this. So, why don't you two talk about the idea for this?
Sure. Well, I think if you have noticed that we are working with music retreats, there's a reason for that. And last summer, I was in Italy with my husband on a music retreat. He's a musician, I am tone deaf. And it was amazing. It was such a treat to watch all these musicians get together and do this deep dive. And I was especially impressed with how well it was run. And, they just did a great job putting everybody in a wonderful place, taking care of all the meals, providing some activities, space to learn, and space for people to get together casually and really get to know each other. So we reached out and said, would you ever consider doing the same thing for writers? And Donna was game. So we are looking to go to Umbria in July and looking to make this a really great plot focused adventure and hoping that we will get a lot of you to come join us.
And what kind of writers are we looking for, Sarah?
The
We're
dog.
looking for writers at all stages of their careers, I would say, but maybe not if you're like you've never written a short story before sort of level. We want you to understand the basics of like what a story needs, and you're maybe feeling good about your characters, and you're feeling good about your settings, and you know how to write maybe some compelling prose. But when it comes down to putting a whole story together, it starts to be really tricky. We're also looking for folks who maybe are almost there in terms of trying to sell things, or maybe they're stuck in a project or something like that. And they've been told their pacing is off. Their maybe the ending doesn't make sense for what they're doing, or maybe characters are not really emotionally resonant enough for your readers. So those are some folks. What about you guys? What do you think? Anyone I missed?
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I love getting writers in what I affectionately call revision hell, which is where
Mm.
you have a full draft and you kind of get to that point where you're stuck and you just can't figure it out. And the secret sauce, given the content of this retreat, is about plot, right? It's figuring out that scaffolding in order to solve the bigger issues. But, talking about twists and brainstorming how to get out of plot holes and all that kind of stuff, just it's my most favorite thing to do. Mary Jane, what draws you to plot? What drives you wild about this?
Well, I think it was actually one of the hardest things for me to get a real handle on. And I think a lot of writers have that experience where you have a great idea, you've got great characters, you've got great writing, but there's just
Yeah.
something that's not pulling people through your story the way you want. And,
Mhm.
I'd spent a lot of time looking at plot structure, resources, and trying to really understand that. But I think it's different to read about plot intellectually than it is to work with a group of people who really understand it and start to dig into, what are some of the tropes that we use and why? How can I take those things that, we all know and really adapt them to my story? And what is it that's pulling somebody through? So it's really digging below the surface in those plot points and those charts and, the turns and all those things that we're familiar with as writers, and really thinking about what creates propulsion through the story and where are you inadvertently letting the energy out. And I think that's one of the most interesting things, is trying to find those places where you can keep the tension in the story. And the other thing is thinking about course correction along the way. So a lot of us, get all the way through a story and then start to think about the plot and how do you fix it. But if you have a good handle on the plot dynamics in the beginning, then it's a little easier to course correct along the way. And I just find that much better than trying to correct once you've written the whole thing. It's much more work. It's kind of that revision hell that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like to
Yeah.
think of it like bumpers on the plot. If you do
Yeah.
a little bit of
Yeah.
planning or a lot, depending on who you are up front, and then you write, you'll be in a much better place than you will be if you're trying to fix it once you're done, which I think all of us have been there, and it's really not a pleasant place to
Yes.
be.
And I do want to put a plug in though for those writers that don't plot ahead of time,
Yeah.
that don't know how to outline, that feel like it really confines them, like they can't, and some people just can't do it. Like they try
Yeah.
and it just makes it
Right.
so boring that the whole process is like, forget it. I'm not writing this book. I know what happens already. I want to say that if you really understand story structure and you really understand plot, you can be writing along and you're a little bit lost, right? You don't know exactly where you are, but you can actually look back at what you've written, see where you are in terms of the structure and the plot that you need. And then even better as you move forward. Okay, I'm at about this percent. Like this is probably about what should happen. And then suddenly your story brain is going to just pop up with new ideas and it's going to like really flow. Whereas before, maybe you were sort of petering out because you didn't know exactly what should happen. And it seemed like it was kind of like that murky middle where you're not really sure what's supposed to happen here. And you're kind of running out of ideas because you've gone through what you think you know. And then you're like, oh, boom. Okay, this is where all the bad guys come in. Okay, good. I can do that. And then suddenly you're off to the races. So I just want to make sure if
Yeah.
you're a person who's like, I cannot outline, it is okay to learn about plot and structure. In fact, I think you should, because it's going to help you as a writer for sure.
So strongly agree, and so well
Yeah.
said. So that's a beautiful segue into the format of this retreat, which is a masterclass format. And Sarah, do you want to take that one?
I do. So I'm the musician of the group. I played flute and piccolo for a long time. And in a musician masterclass, you usually have one person who's sort of like a famous artist of some kind, and they come and sometimes they play for you, and sometimes you play for them. And there's a lot of teaching that goes back and forth. And it's usually for a few days. It's not a super long time. It's not over a semester or anything. It's a short period of time. So in this case, we are using that model. So it's going to be 4 days and 4 nights. We're immersing ourselves into plot. So we're going to have a lot of time. There will be some direct teaching where Mary Jane and Sam and I will actually get up and lecture and or work with you like as a group. We will have some group activities where you work with each other. We will have there may be opportunities for individual coaching if you know you have a story and you're feeling a little stuck and you want to work one-on-one with someone. And we'll also have opportunities to share. You'll be able to read your writing, and you'll also hear other participants and also us, the artists, read our writing.
Awesome. Well, anyone who's thinking about coming to this, we hope that you give us a chance and apply. We think this is going to be just the most fun ever. I mean, Italy in July, there is air conditioning.
Yes.
And a
and
pool.
and a pool.
Yeah.
And it's going to be absolutely amazing, very relaxing, very retreat focused, lots of writing time built in, and we would love to have you there.
Yeah, I think a couple of things people might be wondering about the amenities. So it is a agriturismo, so it's a working farm. All the food is grown there and prepared there, so you don't have to worry about meals or going anyplace else. There are pools, there's walking trails, so
Good.
you will be
This
taken
sounds so
care
good to
of.
me.
Yeah, there's definitely air conditioning in the rooms, and that you can look at the website and check out. They've got really great pictures so you can get a sense of where it is. And there's lots of help to help you navigate how to get there and all that when you're making your travel arrangements. So it really is designed to be, like Sarah said, a masterclass in this really luxurious environment. And we're going to keep it small, so no more than 17 people, so we can make sure that everyone gets the personal attention that they're looking for. And you can sign up to bring a partner or friend if you need. And we really hope that people join us, because I think it's going to be a really special experience.